Washington and Tampa Bay. I mean, this is the highest spread on the board. The highest total on the board. You got a bunch of defenses that have parts, but I feel like can be very easily beat. And you have two quarterbacks who are either running it downfield at an elite level or Baker passing it downfield the best he has in his career. So I do think I see the path to the over, but it is interesting nonetheless that it is the highest total.
Yeah, I wanted to do a total here, but man, there's just a lot of points looking at between these teams. Both defenses have been improving the last 6 weeks, but against not great competition. We'll see,
Yeah,
because this is pretty good competition. These have been these number 6 and number 7 offenses on the season by DVOA. I rank all the offenses before the season. I don't know what I have these two teams, but I promise you it was not 6th or 7th. It was outside the top 20, I would guess. Two of the biggest surprises on the season, not the defense. The defense have not been surprising. So yeah, I think we're going to get a high scoring game. I think it's the highest scoring game of the weekend. I saw someone suggest to me Washington highest scoring team of the weekend. If you like Washington, I think that's a good creative way to bet
I like
them
that.
here. I also think this could be a back and forth sort of game. If you're a live better, I think you might be able to just bet one side that's the underdog, then they take the lead, and you bet the other side that's the underdog, and you're out. You can just rest easy, take the money lines, and just come out ahead whichever team comes out, especially because here's some of the numbers. Bucs second half, 13-4 against the spread. Washington first half, 10-7 against the spread. Washington's way better defensively early. Bucs are way better defensively late. Bucs offense, top 5 in the first quarter. Bucs defense, bottom 5 in the second quarter. Washington offense, top 5 in the second quarter. So I just think we're going to get high variance. We got a rookie quarterback. We got Baker. We're going to get a back and forth game. All that said, this is the one game I'm just picking a straight spread on, Bucs -3. And to me, I think the injury report actually looms pretty large here. Antoine Winfield back is a really big news for Tampa Bay. He's been not great this season, but really important to them for a secondary that's been pretty awful, and for safeties that everybody's been injured. So I think that's a huge swing, not just one player, but the way he organizes that defense and gets them going. So him on the field, and then Washington, Tyler Biadasz and Cornelius Lucas, two of their linemen, are both limited still. And that offensive line got reworked this year, was pretty good early, and has really struggled late. We've talked about Jayden Daniels eating a lot of sacks down the stretch. So to me, those injuries combined with Marshawn Lattimore is still kind of a question mark. That is about a 0.7 points move toward the spread. And we're sitting right at 3. That puts the Bucs closer to 4 for me rather than the other direction below the key number. So that's why I like this one. I think Bucky Irving can get some running game, test the Washington defense. And then frankly, I just trust the Bucs more here. They're 4-3 against playoff teams. Washington is 1-4. Washington against top 10 offenses this year, their defense is allowed 33 points a game. That's going to be tough here. And then frankly, got to have his name in here. I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury. Give me Liam Cohen over Cliff Kingsbury, and give me Todd Bowles' defense against Cliff Kingsbury. And then some of the trends we've talked about already fit here as well. That experienced quarterback against a debut quarterback, 66% ATS. Home playoff team against a non-playoff team from last year, 69% ATS. Home rematch. These teams played week 1. Tampa Bay won convincingly, 37-20. Teams that won by 14 or more rematch at home, 73% ATS. To me, this is just the best trend spot of the weekend. So Bucs -3. And because I love my escalators, we mentioned kind of the back and forth nature. If you think Washington hangs around, Washington first half, Bucs full time, plus 612, I think is a bad number for a game that could go back and forth a lot. So I've got one prop here to close us out, but that's my one main side here Sunday night. I think it should be a fun one.
Yeah, you absolutely nailed some of the bets I was thinking of because this is the one. I mean, I said earlier I liked Washington. So this would be the one side I really felt comfortable betting an underdog pregame, assuming I was going to get the other side as the underdog live.
Yeah.
And this is probably the game I feel the most confident in that in. I mean, I think the other example would be Chargers-Texans with that same kind of line. And I don't feel as comfortable in that game as I do with this one. So I do like the live on both sides. I think you could play that Washington full game. I'm Washington first half, Tampa full game, but also do first quarter. I think there's probably a few ways to probably do that. Interesting enough, the last rookie to win a road game in the playoffs was Russ in 2013, 2012, 2013. And overall, they're 5-14 straight up on the road in the playoffs since 1990. So not great there. I believe they've lost 7 in a row. I think Jayden's a little bit different. But the one thing I will say is, in terms of exactly your prop here, I do think there's an avenue because of the linemen. And I do think missing the lineman or having injured linemen or inexperienced linemen will lead to your prop. So give it away.
Yeah, I'm looking for Jayden Daniels rushing overs here. So we're taking the escalator because I think Jayden Daniels, the one thing we've seen from him, even coming into the NFL, the book on him was he scrambles too much. He scrambles too often. He's going to get blown up in the NFL. Well, he hasn't gotten blown up. He's blown up the NFL instead. But I think that we've seen by the numbers, he tucks the ball and runs way too often still without hanging in the pocket. He's going to get better at that over the time. But in this game, Washington's failing offensive line against Todd Bowles. What's Todd Bowles going to do? He's going to bring the blitz for sure. We know that's what he does. So here we have pressure coming at Jayden Daniels. What does he do? He tucks the ball and runs, and frankly, does a pretty good job of it too. So I think you want him on the ground here. We saw already in the opener, Washington played Tampa Bay, the first game of Jayden Daniels' career. What happened? He got pressured. He tucked the ball and run. He had 16 carries for 88 yards and 2 scores in that game. The Bucs have allowed the top 3 most fantasy points to quarterbacks. They allowed the second most quarterback rushing touchdowns. It's not just Daniels. Bo Nix, a couple weeks after Daniels, 9 carries, 47 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Hurts ran 8 times, got a touchdown. Lamar Jackson, 9 rushes, 52 yards. So the Lions, I think, caught on to this a little bit. 8.5 attempts, 48.5 yards. I was like, darn it. That's like about where I thought these maybe should be. So, as always, that doesn't scare me away. That just makes me be more aggressive. So here's the escalator. Couple different ways to be creative here. I'll take the over 48.5 rushing yards. I think that's about the right line, but I think you can do that. That's at FanDuel minus 114. 80 yards or more plus 430. That's in your quick slip if you want those two on the yardage. I also like a touchdown here. That's obviously a rushing or receiving touchdown. We'll take how we get it. But I like that for him. Remember, he did that twice in the first matchup, plus 185 on the touchdown. And then a little bit of a long shot here. 15 attempts or more is 14-1. Again, he had 16 against them in the opener. He had 16 in one other game as well. Week 16 against the Falcons. That kind of a playoff setting. When it's all on the line, what are you going to do? When it's on the line for Jayden Daniels, he runs. And in case you're right about Washington winning, we'll take a couple of kneels at the end and get over our rushing attempts too. However we got to get there, we'll take it. Jayden Daniels rushing escalator to close us out.
I like it. I just feel like he's going more than Bo Nix in that situation. This is going to be a tighter game. He's going to feel the need to, run the ball down the field. I think Eckler and Robinson at times can be fine, but also I can completely see them changing the game plan and kind of going just with Daniels all out here, which is the reason why some of those props we talked about earlier I thought had some value to it from a Washington point of view if you like them in this game. The other one is Eckler's definitely going to throw him a touchdown. I can see that happening already. Eckler to Jayden Daniels, that's how you catch the bet.